So, Kaylin, today I'm going to try to work our conversation on this intro somehow to get me to say the phrase, dodge that bullet.
How did I know?
In light of recent events.
Maybe you could dodge a bullet by not talking about it.
Okay, dodge that bullet. Ooh, almost crossed the line there. We touch on current events here at the Perfect Movie Podcast. Sometimes we talk about, with a lot of tact. Sometimes we talk about like Hamas and Israel, and recent assassination attempts.
Don't listen to CNN. Come to the Perfect Movie Podcast
Exactly.
for all of your trending topics.
The PNN, Perfect News Network. That's when
the
we
PMP.
start expanding the brand.
Heck yeah.
All right, so we are continuing.
Joel and Ethan Coen June?
No, I know. I'm going back. Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, is this a perfect movie? I'm Michael.
I'm Kaylin.
And we are continuing Joel and Ethan Coen June and July.
Yeah.
It's turned into, which is fine. Now, we're at the end of Joel and Ethan Coen June and July. We're with our final movie called The Hudsucker Proxy. It is their highest budget movie ever made. It is one of their closest to their critical failures and flops, at least at the time of release. I like it a lot, though. I find it interesting and funny. And at this moment, I think, and this is a liquid thing with me, fluid situation. But at this moment, I think this might be my favorite Coen Brothers movie.
Really?
I don't know. There's too many. I like them all. I like them all a lot. Ask me next week, I might have a different answer. But I like it a lot. Kaylin, you've just watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
I thought it was like Wolf of Wall Street, but instead of cocaine, everybody smoked crack. And it was kind of wild. It was like taking a minute for it to kind of click. I liked the intro where like the board members are talking because it's like I don't know. It was like they're speaking in riddles. You know what I mean? It was just really bizarre.
So, third quarter and year to date, we have set a new record in sales, a new record in gross, a new record in pre-tax earnings, a new record in after-tax profits, and our stock is split twice in the past year. In short, we're loaded.
I love how at the end he goes, in short, we are filthy rich.
And I just love like this. It's just a like majorly toxic environment, work environment, and everybody is awful to each other. And I love the little bit where, spoiler, but the Mr. Hudsucker, he passed away. And so they're like, in memory of Mr. Hudsucker, we're going to have a moment of silence. And this time will be duly noted and taken off your paycheck.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's pretty great. That's
This
fun.
time has been deducted from your time cards.
To mark this occasion of corporate loss, we ask that all employees observe a moment of silent contemplation. Thank you for your kind attention. This moment has been duly noted on your time cards and will be deducted from your pay.
But if you remember in our review for No Country for Old Men, we said that the Coen brothers rarely miss. And I want to say this is kind of a miss, but there's still like many aspects that I did enjoy. And yeah, it was a lot more heartfelt than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this movie, so short storyline breakdown. So we have our main character who, let me pull up one sec.
Norville Barnes.
Yeah, so Norville Barnes, played by
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins, who we haven't talked about since our second episode.
It's crazy.
When we did Shawshank. Most people know him from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
He is like a bright-eyed, bush-tailed, fresh college graduate who's here to find a new job, and he's in the big city. And the city that in the whole world of this is a little heightened. It's very Art Deco, it's very 1920s, and it's very cartoonish in a lot of ways. He's looking for a job. He applies at Hudsucker Industries, which is like just the big mega corporation. He starts on the ground floor, but he has big ideas, which I feel like this whole movie was based on one joke that they thought was funny. Like the origin of the idea is the joke that a man invents the hula hoop, and and he's going around showing everybody his great idea, and it's just a piece of paper in his pocket with a circle on it.
Yeah.
And he just keeps showing it to people and going, for kids.
For the kids.
I developed it myself. Yes, sirree, this is my ticket upstairs. For kids.
So he has big ideas, but he, by chance, ends up being CEO after the CEO of Hudsucker Industries, wearing Hudsucker himself, at the beginning of the movie, just throws himself like 60 floors down off the top of the boardroom and the top of the skyscraper, splats on the ground, and after that, they're going over the bylaws, and Paul Newman, who plays Sid Musburger, is kind of the right-hand man of the CEO, and he's like, well, the company's about to go public. All the shares are going to be sold. And when that happens, we will lose our power over this company. Mm-hmm. So their plan is to put a stooge in place as CEO to tank the stock price so they can buy it all up and maintain control of the company.
Yeah. And the stooge, they want like a buffoon, somebody who's not very intelligent.
And by chance, because Tim Robbins works in the mailroom, he gets sent up with a blue letter, which is a very important straight-to-the-top communication. And when Sid Musburger meets Norville Barnes, realizes this is my idiot. And it's just sort of the movie opens with a great music and a voiceover of a guy showing, we meet Tim Robbins, and he's about to jump off the building, just like we later see wearing Hudsucker do. And the question is Norville Barnes really going to jelly up the pavement?
Jelly up the pavement.
Now, if y'all ain't from the city, we got something here called a rat race. Got a way of chewing folks up so that they don't want no celebrating, don't want no cheering up, don't care nothing about no New Year's. Out of hope, out of rope, out of time. This here's Norville Barnes. That office he's stepping out of is the office of the president of Hudsucker Industries. It's his office. How'd he get so high? And why is he feeling so low? Is he really gonna do it? Is Norville really gonna jelly up the sidewalk? Well, the future, that's something you can't never tell about. But the past, that's another story.
And then we flash back and figure out why Tim Robbins is so stressed.
So let's get into the performance test, because I think this is where this movie really shines.
It was the performance of a lifetime.
Tim Robbins,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird seeing him in a role like this, just because really the only thing I can really think of him in is Shawshank, and he's so like reserved in that movie, where it's like in this he's doing like straight up slapstick comedy. A lot of rolling on the floor and just being kind of an idiot. So it's kind of interesting to see him in this role, and I thought he was pretty great.
Yeah, Tim Robbins is It's a good casting decision, I think, strictly for the one thing that makes Tim Robbins stand out, other than his skill in acting, is the fact he's like 6'7".
Yeah.
And he's just got all these limbs and arms, so when he does get slapsticky and silly, like, it's all out there. And it's funny because I read in the trivia that one of the producers wanted Tom Cruise to have that role. Ooh. And I can't imagine a more different, acting and also in just size.
Yeah.
That's like the two ends of the acting spectrum.
5'2" guy, rolling on the floor.
It'd be a very different movie if Tom Cruise was in it.
He was like, I want to go for the more serious one, The Firm. You know who'd have been great in this role? Tim Carrey.
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, he's great. He's always playing those super heightened characters. You can't turn him down.
No.
I like how Tim Robbins can go
He can go both ways, yeah, for sure.
And he's pretty excellent in this. It is, and I also want to shout out Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yes.
As
Amy Archer.
She's a Pulitzer Prize winning writer.
I'm not even going to try to do any of her quotes because she has diarrhea of the mouth the entire movie, and it's so hard to pick up on what she's saying. But
she has the transatlantic accent, and this whole movie is very inspired by old Hollywood comedies.
Yeah.
I can't print that.
Why not? It's all true. The board's using the poor guy. They're depressing the stock so they can buy it cheap.
It's pure speculation. Why they'd have my butt in a satchel?
Oh, satchel butt.
I know they're gonna buy that stock.
You don't know anything. Fact is, they haven't bought it. The stock's cheap, Archer. What are they waiting for?
I don't know.
Amy's hunches are usually pretty good, Chief.
You don't accuse somebody of stock manipulation on a hunch, Ignatz. The readers of the Manhattan Argus aren't interested in sensationalism, gossip, unsupported speculation, facts, figures, charts. Those are the tools of the newspaper trade. Why, it's almost as if you're trying to take the heat off this Barnes numbskull. Like they got all soft on him.
Oh, come on, Chief. That's a low blow. Archer's not going to go gooey for a corn-fed idiot.
All right, I was out of line. But you're out of line with this stock swindle story. Give me some more of that moron from Sheboygan stuff.
Muncie.
Whatever. That's what sells newspapers.
I've got an even hotter story. The sap from the city desk.
Watch it, Archer.
It's about a dim-witted editor.
Hey, easy, tough guy.
When the boardroom suicide happens, I love the guy that just keeps going, and not counting the mezzanine. He just threw himself down 43 floors. 44, not counting the mezzanine.
And there's that guy who's always crying or something.
Later, he tries to kill himself too.
Oh yeah, but he hits the window.
And Paul Newman's constantly smoking big cigars in this movie, and he's just the biggest cigar in his mouth as he growls, "Reinforced plexiglass."
When the president, chairman of the board, and owner of 87% of the company's stock drops 44 floors.
45, counting the mezzanine.
My God, you're animals. How can you discuss his stock when the man has just leapt 45 floors?
44. Not counting the mezzanine.
We depressed the stock to the point where we can buy 50%.
51, not counting the mezzanine.
Bruce Campbell makes an appearance. He plays Smitty, which is an Argus reporter. He works in the news, or the journalist room that Amy Archer works in. He's just got a few lines. He's pretty great. I love Bruce Campbell. He's whenever I see him in a movie, he's like an extra little treat. I don't know. I can really take him as a lead character in anything, but it's when he makes his little cameos and stuff, I'm like, that's Bruce Campbell right there.
Yeah. So Sam Raimi had a good part in this production. He has a big part in something that we will talk about in It's an Art Bro. He's a voice of one of the characters in this movie, and he's a friend of the Coens, and I feel like there's a lot of inspiration taken from him, and Bruce Campbell being cast is a big thing. And John Mahoney, who plays Chief, the newsroom boss, the executive editor, that is just J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies,
for sure.
Just at an earlier time.
Yeah, for sure.
And he actually does a line that is in Raising Arizona. He says, "Oh yeah, well if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump his ass a hopping." So they do a little callback there, a
little crossover.
And in Nick Cage, the company that he works for, if you look, it says Hudsucker Industries.
Oh wow!
In Raising Arizona, so they have their little in-universe tie-in.
Easter eggs, yeah.
And I just love Tim Robbins when he gets orientated.
You punch it at 8:30 every morning, except you punch it at 7:30 following a business holiday. Plus it's a Monday, then you punch it at 8 o'clock. Punch it late, and they dock this goes to 7. Mr. Matuzak. Incoming articles, get a voucher. Outgoing articles, provide a voucher. Move any article without a voucher, and they dock you.
Take this off the secretarial pool on 3. ASAP.
Letter size of green voucher, folder size of yellow voucher, partial size of maroon voucher.
Hey, kid, this is for Morgatron. Chop, chop.
Wrong color voucher, and they dock you. 6787049 Alpha/6. That is your employee number. It will not be repeated. Without your employee number, you cannot get your paycheck.
All right, this goes up to 27. Return a waiver. Do not return without a signed waiver.
Inter-office mail is code 37. Intra-office mail is 37-3. Outside mail is 3-37. Code it wrong, and they dock you.
I was supposed to have this on 28 10 minutes ago. Cover for me.
This has been your orientation. Is there anything you do not understand? Is there anything you understand only partially? If you have not been fully oriented, you must file a complaint with personnel. File a faulty complaint, and they dock you.
Maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie is just this guy screaming rules at him as chaos is unfolding in the mailroom, and he just keeps going, mess this thing up, and they dock you.
They dock you.
Everything about this movie, I think, also reminds me a lot of Raising Arizona, where like the first 30-40 minutes of this just rule so hard.
Yeah.
I think it does kind of falter in the back half, but I just love the beginning of this movie so much, and it's just so me humor. And I haven't mentioned my favorite character. And Kaylin, it's Buzz, the elevator operator.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. They said I stole your idea, buddy.
Buzz also loves inappropriate jokes about recent events, because he's immediately, like the day after, making wearing Hudsucker jokes.
Hiya, buddy. My name's Buzz. I got the fuzz. I make the elevator do what she does. Hang it up to dry. What's your pleasure, buddy? 44. 44, the top brass floor. Say, buddy, what takes 50 years to get up to the top floor and 30 seconds to get down? Wearing Hudsucker. You get it, buddy? Say, buddy. Mr. Klein, up to 9. Mrs. Dell, personnel, Mr. 11, 37.
36.
Walk down. Ladies and gentlemen, please step to the rear. Here comes a gargantuan Mr. Greer.
Buzz.
Say, buddy, who's the most liquid businessman on the street? Wearing Hudsucker. Say, buddy, when is the sidewalk fully dressed? When it's wearing Hudsucker. You get it, buddy? It's a pun. It's a knee slapper. It's a play on Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. Is that a blue letter? Cripe the mighty. Why didn't you tell a guy? Hold on, folks. We're expressed to the top floor.
Hey, buddy, when's the sidewalk feel fully dressed? When it's wearing Hudsucker.
Dude is just like coked out of his mind.
He's like, you get it, buddy? It's a knee slapper. He goes, everybody step to the rear. It's a gargantuan Mr. Greer. And this big guy hops on and goes, Buzz. He shows up later in the movie because he also has ambitions, and he tries because Norville kind of has a turn. You know, the money and fame gets to his head, so he kind of slowly becomes a POS and is not treating people well, and is just resting on his laurels. And the really comes to a head when Buzz shows up and gives his pitch for the drinking straw.
Yeah.
And Norville's like, nobody will use this ever, you buffoon.
There's no crawling at Hudsucker. I love this scene where he is like initially getting promoted, and he's getting like, getting fitted for clothes, and it's just like a entire montage of people laughing. Mm-hmm. And it's so maniacal and so bizarre, but it's a great scene.
And another just weird... This is more of an Easter egg. We need an Easter egg segment, I guess. Okay, do you know the guy that, like, he kind of becomes his, like, bouncer halfway through the movie? There's this a little heavier guy that's always reading the funny papers that's just hanging out in the second half of the movie? Okay, that guy is in Miller's Crossing. When we see him in Miller's Crossing, the main character is going to visit him to shake him down about something, and he's sitting there reading the funny papers, eating cereal.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy. And the Coens have just been like, this guy, he reads the funny papers.
John Goodman is in this too.
Yeah.
He's a Rockwell newsreel announcer. I don't think I even noticed.
He's not actually in it. He's
a
voiceover.
Yeah. I think they did that with Bruce Campbell in another movie.
Yeah, for sure. Sam Raimi's one of the voices of the people that are trying to come up with the name of the hula hoop when it gets put into...
Well, he was like, what was? Oh my God, I'm not even gonna try to say.
I love when Paul Newman, after the hula hoop pitch, he's like, "Yes, put this in production. This dingus.
The dingus. There was something else they called it that made me laugh. Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh when Tim Robbins is being just a bad rich guy, comes up to him and she's like, I thought you were someone that would make something that would bring people together, even if it kept them apart spatially.
So stupid.
And I love how this movie comes full circle, because by the end he has another new invention, and it's just the greatest shot as he does his pitch and then he unveils the frisbee and then he throws it out the window as the camera follows it out the window.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. It's goofy.
He also gets saved by like a time-stopping clock workman or something.
Yeah, there's like a magical black man that lives in the clock
tower. Yeah,
that lives in the clock tower, and he stops time. And like him and the evil janitor seem to be like
they
dueling
have a duel.
forces.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck is this? So bizarre.
And then wearing Hudsucker comes down as an angel and just has a little chat with him.
Got a little harp.
Another great gag. This is like a Family Guy gag. It's when so in Tim Robbins' first meeting, he somehow ends up accidentally knocking Sid Musburger out the window, and then he's holding on to him. He says, "Hold on, Sid, I got you by your pants." And then he
it's like double stitch.
Flashes back because the suit maker tailoring him, and he's like, "Sir, would you like a double stitch? It'll make it last longer." And he's like, "Nah, double stitch waste of money."
Why would I want a double stitch? One stitch will be fine.
And then it's later the guy tailoring the suit, and he goes, "Mr. Musburger's such a nice man. I'll do the double stitch for free."
It's so hammy. So stupid.
Or another great scene is when Jennifer Jason Leigh pretends to be from Muncie, Indiana, the small town that our main character is from.
Yeah.
And then he starts doing their like fight song for the high school, and she's like pretending to know it, like saying everything a half second after.
Go Wolves! Yeah, this movie has a lot of great gags. I appreciate it from that aspect, for sure. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on to It's an Art, Bro, where we talk about the aspects of the filmmaking process, like sets, effects, lighting, music.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
I have a quick question. Do you think that Wes Anderson was inspired at all by the Coen brothers?
I think so. I think his inspirations are probably farther back than the Coen brothers.
Say like even silent films too.
Yeah,
kind of seems like
and like probably even European
sure
stuff. But there's certainly a shared, especially in this movie, because this movie is like really formalist. It's really like the sets are like, you could imagine this being a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
It'd be purple and pink,
right,
instead of the gray and
with like that heightened sense of reality where it almost feels like a dream. It doesn't feel like, I mean, it's just a story, it's not taking any like real setting. I don't know, I just saw, especially with this one, I saw a lot of similarities between this and Wes Anderson's work, especially with the characters and just the dialogue, the way they talk. It's so animated. And it's interesting.
It's not completely sincere. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, a lot of the stuff that's happening, and that's a very Wes Anderson thing.
Right.
Where everybody's a little just that one step removed. I really love the Art Deco designs of like the city, like with our first montage. It looks like Metropolis, like that old silent film.
Yeah.
And like I love Sid Musburger's office because we see like half the clock built into the back wall of it, and this movie's just full of like giant rooms that are mostly empty and like really high ceilings, and it's just obscene. It's just that's where the money went. Like these big sets, like if this movie cost $30 million, it's to create all these like crazy sceneries, because Coen brothers usually do a lot with a little. They aren't making a lot of sets. They're going out and shooting somewhere.
Sure.
Typically, they're going to wherever Miller's Crossing was shot, they're going to, deep of Texas to do No Country.
Right.
There's not a lot of real places. It's all sets here.
It's also got that night. So this was 93.
I think like 94.
It has that nice 90s vibe, Hallmark vibe to it too, especially with the music, like the violins and yeah.
I do love the theme. The theme of this just soars. It's just, I don't know. This movie, it opens on New Year's. It's set on New Year's. Mm-hmm. And it's not a Christmas movie, but I want to watch it.
Yeah,
when it's chilly outside.
I was like noticing that at the end where it was just like real snowy, and it it looked nice, and it gave you that Christmassy feel to it.
Or a New Year's movie, it could even be, I suppose.
I think, for the most part, I think I can't really think of anything like the lighting aspect. Like, I couldn't really think of anything that really stood out to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just part of the time too. I don't think lighting was as evolved for like certain movies, certain types of movies, especially movies like this. But I think the sets were great, and I liked like you were saying, one of your favorite scenes was like the mailroom scene. There's just so much going on in that scene, and it really added to like just the heightened sense of like reality of this world. And so I think that scene was like really key to like introducing you to just like this world that you're in. Yeah.
Shout out to the older mailroom guy that's just like whipping mail into the slots. He was good
at his job. He was 48 years deep. So
he's like, well, fold the mail and they dock you.
He was like, I've been working here for 48 years. Next year, I hope to be up to parcels.
Okay, so Sam Raimi, he shot an integral part. He was like the B unit director for one integral part of this movie, which is the creation of the hula hoop montage, all the way up until when the hula hoop rolls over to that little boy and he starts hooping, and the hoopla begins.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful montage. We go from basically Norval giving the pitch for this dingus or whatever, and then there's the people trying to come up with the names, which the names are hilarious, and then there's the lady in front with the sight gag of her. First she starts reading War and Peace, and then she's like reading another massive novel. Each time they cut back to her as these guys try to figure out the right name. And I just love the way so the hula hoops are made, but they're not popular, and then we look at one toy store owner as he like just gets tired of holding them and just throws them all into the street, and one like rolls for blocks all the way until some little rolls around one little boy, and it's almost like it's dancing with him because it does a couple circles around him,
right? And
then it like flops in front of him, and he picks it up, and he starts hooping, and people love it. People are
that was the hottest shit at that time for sure.
Do you think like when the hula hoop was invented, was there like religious fundamentalists that were like, this hooping is gonna bring the it's too sexual in your hips like that?
I mean, I could imagine they complained about everything back then. You couldn't do shit. So
And I feel like Sam Raimi's influence is elsewhere because there's also a couple like crash zooms into women's mouths as they scream.
Yeah, that's a hallmark.
That's a Sam Raimi hallmark. Yeah, for sure. And I love the newspaper room when Jennifer Jason Leigh. This isn't an art thing so much, but when Jennifer Jason Leigh is like she's having a conversation, she's typing her article, she's talking to Bruce Campbell, and then the guy in the background's doing the crossword, and he keeps asking her for help. Every once in a while, she'll just yell out a new word as he builds the crossword.
I thought so. It's not funny, but they didn't treat women too nicely back in the day. They didn't think too highly of them. They didn't think that they should have jobs that are higher up. But I did find so Norville was kind of talking about this reporter that was like reporting on him negatively, calling him a buffoon and all types of stuff. And so what is her Amy? She's that reporter, but she's secretly working for Norville, trying to get inside information. But anyways, Norville kind of goes on this spiel about how this woman must be ugly, whoever this reporter is, because and she must feel so bad about herself. That's why she's writing all these terrible things. I just found that scene really funny. But obviously, like, that's awful to talk about women that way. But it was a great scene.
Well, yeah, because he's doing it to the woman.
Yeah, as she's sitting there and she's just kind of taking it. She was like, "Well, I don't know about that."
And only a buffoon would speak about things he doesn't know about.
You don't know what she's going through. Yeah. Shall we move on to, hey, what are you trying to say?
I think this is going to be a shorter episode because it's hot as hell.
It is.
I'm melting.
All right, let me just get that last measurement on your
Thank you. I need this for the wedding.
Okay, well,
I need it really quickly. Like
it could take about a week to do.
It could take a week?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you trying to say? He's trying to say that I'm so big, my bum is so big, you need to order to various countries far away to get enough material to make a pair of pants so I can fit my incredibly obese buttocks into a pair of your specially made little suits.
No, I mean I'm the only one working here this week.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what are you trying to say? Now, this movie is silly, it's goofy, and I think the one thing it's really trying to say, capitalism, it's dumb. The people up top, they're monsters.
They're terrible. And they will fuck anybody over to get ahead, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
And they don't want to let you in. The company couldn't go public.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
And half of me is like, do they really hire just buffoons? You know what I mean? I'm sure this happens on purpose. And that's why a lot of these like CEOs and stuff are idiots.
Yeah, I believe it. He's just really caked in from the start, from the "in short, we're loaded" montage. It's not that deep, but that's mostly what it's trying to say.
Yeah, and also how like they, just tarnishing somebody's name, somebody's legacy, like what that can do to a person. You know, he was about to kill himself. Like, that's fucked up. And we live in a day and age now where it's like cancel culture, and we do that to people a lot. And the toll it must, I mean, some people deserve it, other people's not as much, but there's still people, and that kind of stuff cuts deep.
Yeah, when there's sort of a shift in the second half of the movie, Musburger starts like spreading lies about Norville, and he also just gives him lots of bad advice.
Yeah.
I love when Buzz runs into him on New Year's night as he's like stumbling around. He goes, "Hey, buddy, Sid told me that you stole that idea from me." Even though he didn't come up with the idea at all. I love that Buzz is so stupid, he will believe someone else telling him that he has an idea that he never had.
Like, that's a good idea, buddy. Also, fake news.
Fake news.
How journalists, they lie and they expense of a good story and end up hurting somebody in the process. I'm sure this kind of stuff happens where they infiltrate different corporations and different stuff like that and gain information, insider information and all types of stuff. I'm sure that's a pretty real world thing. But yeah.
I also think how money and power can corrupt. I mean, Norville starts out a good person, a person with ideals.
Yes.
And very quickly, turns.
Yeah.
And I think
the money changes you.
The money changes you for sure. Shall we let the hate flow through you?
Yes.
This is where we air out our annoyances and our complaints.
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
I thought the pacing was a little rough sometimes, especially towards the later half. I was like, this is running a little bit too long. I shouldn't never complain about movies being long when it's like I love Martin Scorsese films and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I always end up complaining about it. But yeah, that and I don't know. This one just didn't, for me, it just didn't hit like a lot of Coen Brothers' other stuff. I don't know, maybe if I just didn't get it right away, or the heightened sense of reality didn't work for me. Just because I'm used to, or I prefer some of the movies where it's more grounded. As far as Coen Brothers go, No Country is like one of my favorite movies of all time. So that movie is very much. But I do appreciate just like the dialogue and the characters. Again, we always say this as like a strength for the Coen Brothers, where it's like their characters are what shines the most in their movies. And just like even the side characters too, where it's just like there's so much depth and complexity, and then you have that added dialogue where it makes it fun to watch.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say there's one moment you can just chop out of this movie, and that's that dream sequence dance.
Yeah.
Feels like, what are we doing here? Like, like what? Yeah, that's like one moment. I honestly I think fast forward through it, watching it. Like, this is like my third time watching this movie, I think. And I think the first time I watched it, I also had more of a reaction that was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What did I just see?
Right.
What am I... What? I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect this.
And it's like sometimes I feel like they might have pushed it a little too far, especially with like the black guy and the dude, whoever that guy was.
The evil janitor?
Yeah, having a duel in the clock tower. I just thought that was kind of a bizarre choice, and I was like, what is this? Is this like a duality thing where it's almost like the angels on the shoulder as far as Norville Barnes' character goes, and they're kind of battling it out for his soul kind of thing. I don't know. You could kind of interpret it whatever ways, or it could just be, because knowing the Coen Brothers, it could not mean anything. It could just be two guys, just some weird shit for no reason.
I feel like it is that, and also this movie just doesn't want to explain ever, like, because I mean the black guy stops time.
Like, what the hell is that? Yeah.
The clock in the tower of this building, I guess, is magical because when he shoves his broom handle into the gears, it just freezes time everywhere.
This movie really reminded me of like The Christmas Carol or something.
Yeah.
It has that very it's like that magical quality where it's like it's a cautionary tale, and it's
an angel floats down and teaches you the lesson you were supposed to learn.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's set during like near Christmas time. You know what I mean? Yeah. This movie is bizarre, is what I'll say. And
shout
out
to that
totally worked.
To that funny looking guy in the bar.
Oh yeah, Steve Buscemi makes an appearance. We forgot to mention him in our performance test.
As Norville keeps trying to order martinis at a juice bar.
I just like how you just hear. You don't even have to see his face. You just hear his voice, and you're like, oh, that's that boy, Bush.
That's the Bush.
That's the Bush.
Not to be confused with George Bush.
George Bush is much like Steve Buscemi.
It's like Star Wars in rhymes. Okay.
Could you imagine if George Lucas was the president?
We will serve Panda Express in all the schools.
Instead of dodging bullets, he'd be dodging lasers.
Jar Jar's the most important senator.
Have Senator Jar Jar.
Oh, so this is how democracy dies. With me on top.
Lisa gonna change the Constitution.
Shall we answer our final question?
Yes, let's answer our final question. Is this a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect. Perfect in every way.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well.
It's really good. I like it a lot.
Would you recommend?
I would highly recommend it. If you're willing to go down a little zanier, goofier, sillier rabbit hole. It's on Netflix right now.
It is.
So it's very available if you're on the flicks.
I never knew this movie existed. That's one thing. Was like, whoa, I've never heard of this. This is also a Coen Brothers movie. Okay, check it out.
I think it's part of why It's definitely why I wanted to do it on the pod. I think it's part of also why I like it so much, just because nobody's heard of it. I'm like, this thing is pretty awesome, and it's like forgotten.
Yeah,
I think for a lot of people, not people that are maybe deeply in the film.
And it's got
world.
Tim Robbins. I mean, and what has he been in recently?
He is the guy in the basement of War of the Worlds.
That's Tim Robbins in that?
Yeah.
The guy that won't shut up, and Tom Cruise has to moidle him?
Yeah. Spoilers for
That
War
is
of the World.
him. Wow, okay.
I don't know what else he's been in
he was in,
recently.
Well, he was in Green Lantern with
I bet he was the villain.
What's his face?
Or maybe he was like Ryan Reynolds' dad.
He was Senator Robert Hammond. I have never seen Green Lantern. So
I have not either.
He was in Dark Waters in 2019.
Remember when people didn't watch Ryan Reynolds movies? That was a good time.
But isn't he so funny, Michael?
It's Deadpool.
Oh my God, he slapped his ass. You know? He makes sexual jokes.
The Deadpool movies are fine. It's most like Ryan Reynolds' endless like Netflix bullshit,
Yeah.
like a what is it, like Red Notice or whatever,
Yeah.
like the Rock movie.
Yeah,
it's like those two guys are like a void of like somehow they're so famous but never make a good movie.
It's true.
How did you do that?
But it's like with the Deadpool movies, I don't know. It's like white people comedy. It's just kind of like, it's next to fart jokes. Like black people, we like our fart jokes and our poop jokes. White people like their
you eat gum and cheese.
Every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen eating a ball of food. No, but the comedy is just very sexual, and white people think that shit is hilarious.
Are Coen Brothers white people comedy? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, but that's like your opposite side of. That's a different audience of white people where it's like, it's kind of clean, almost it borderlines on clean.
Yeah.
It's just kind of stale.
It's more thoughtful. It's less like juvenile.
It's less like, oh, you got fucked in the ass. So it's hilarious.
It's Channing Tatum in a ball gag at the end of This Is the End.
Yeah.
Like, that's funny because it's so crazy.
Yeah. Shock value stuff. What were we just now? Holy shit. Oh, yeah. So this is not a perfect movie.
It's not a perfect movie.
But if you want to watch it,
you should watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's a good time. Yeah, we went through a lot of different Coen Brothers movies. What do you think, Michael? Which one? What stood out to you the most?
I'm glad we did it. I'm just trying to think back to which ones we've covered. No Country, this, True Grit,
Big Lebowski.
Yeah, I think it just Fargo. I just think watching them all, you can see some unifying themes.
Absolutely.
Like missing, money. I actually just watched Drive Away Dolls, which is the Ethan Coen movie that came out, and that movie also involves like a missing briefcase and criminals coming after them. And it's funny when like Ethan Coen goes and makes Drive Away Dolls, which he does with his wife, who edited the movie, and then Joel Coen goes and with his wife and makes the Apple TV Denzel Washington Shakespeare.
Oh, no, Macbeth. Or yeah, Shakespeare, but the
Macbeth.
tragedy of Macbeth, yeah.
And it's funny because when they separate, I think you can see like where the influences are. Because here it's like silly, funny, missing money, like wacky characters, and then over here it's like the starkness of the production and like
that's a gorgeous movie. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
yeah.
And just like it's taken directly from Shakespeare text, so there's not, but it's like serious. This is a serious movie we're watching right now.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting that when they're together, it like depending on the movie, which end of that spectrum kind of like wins more. Like this one's on the way silly side, and then last episode we've released so far is No Country, which is way over on the like this is serious spectrum.
Well, it's almost like they make the same movie each time, but it's like a different genre, or it's a different take on like. Well, it's just like people who get greedy and they end up, or they're chasing after something in life, like a success, like in Llewyn, whatever that motherfucker
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Inside Llewyn Davis. Yeah, they're chasing after like, material substance, where it's like instead they should be, looking at life a little bit differently. And I think that's kind of like what. Holy shit.
No,
you
right.
get what I'm saying, though.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's funny because in the movies that are set in the real world, in the Coen brothers, and this is where we're kind of getting in their psyche, the way you learn the lesson from your overreach, from your greed, you usually die.
Mm-hmm.
But in the magical world, so like No Country, people died. Fargo, people died. In the magical worlds, in this, an angel comes and teaches you the lesson.
Right.
In Raising Arizona, you just bring the baby back, and the dad says, "Oh, it was just we'll forgive this kidnapping."
Misunderstanding, yeah. Or it's just like, they learn their lesson and then they have a semi-happy ending where it's like, I mean, that's too polarizing, like, but they connect. But it's like that magical side is what we all want, but the reality of it.
The reality is Llewellyn
horribly.
Llewellyn face down in the pool.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. I never really thought of it that way, but that's really interesting. I think my favorite Coen Brothers movie is Big Lebowski. I think that movie is a masterpiece. Thinking back on it, every aspect of that movie is like so watchable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then it's like No Country, obviously, because it's just a great story and you got a great cast and it's an incredibly memorable performance by Javier Bardem.
Yeah, power rank the ones that we've watched. So you say first.
First, it would be
Big
Lebowski. No Country, Fargo.
So your last three are Llewyn Davis, True Grit, and this.
True Grit, Llewyn Davis, then this.
Okay.
Yeah. I like True Grit a lot more than you guys did.
I don't, I think True Grit is probably my last one. I think if I'm power ranking, I probably agree with you. Big Lebowski, No Country, then probably this, Llewyn Davis, True Grit. Which one am I forgetting?
Did you say Fargo?
Oh, Fargo. Okay, so actually I'd probably do Big Lebowski, Fargo, No Country, this, Llewyn Davis, True Grit on the bottom.
Okay. I think I like cowboy movies a little bit more than you do, so I think that's probably why it kind of hit a little bit more. I almost wish we would have did the Ballad of Buster Scruggs instead, because I think that's a better. It's more so on the crazy side, much like this movie.
It depends on the story, because
that's true. It's anthology.
The wagon train story is like
that's
the hard hitter
for sure.
And then there's like
the one where the kids aren't, like, the kid doesn't have arms or legs, and it's with Liam Neeson. Yeah. That's a great one though. That's also on Netflix. You should check that out if you haven't. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. We're thinking of doing Spielberg next. At least a few Spielberg. I think we'll do that, and then we're gonna look forward to a review on Longlegs. I think we're gonna go see that next weekend.
I'm pumped for Longlegs, Spielberg. I mean, where do we even start with that guy? It's crazy. Like, we've done Coen's and we've done Scorsese, and both of those, there's probably a dozen movies that are awesome.
Yeah.
In both those filmographies, and then we come over to Spielberg, and it's like, how do you even choose where to start? Like, there's wrong answers, but like, there's such a breadth. It's like, you go to Jaws? Do you go to E.T.? Do you
Jurassic
go to
Park.
Raiders of the Lost Ark? Jurassic Park? Minority Report?
Yeah.
Amistad?
Yeah.
I don't know. Amistad was that one didn't, the meme with the two dragons and two are serious and one silly?
Yeah.
Me saying Amistad was the like cross-eyed one. I need to find the clip of Spielberg made a movie with Amistad that had slavery. Why are people mad about that? Steven Spielberg doesn't think he's black. Quentin Tarantino thinks he is.
He says the N-word all the time.
Steven Spielberg doesn't want to be black.
Now, what do you think about Spike Lee saying that Quentin Tarantino is wrong for using the N-word 110 times?
When I see Quentin Tarantino, I'm going to take this fist and I'm going to put it right in his mouth where he say
Really?
Really.
And it's real deal. You're really upset about that.
I'm not upset about it. I didn't say nothing about emotion. Emotion would mean I'm emotional.
Yeah.
See, the whole thing is he thinks for some reason he can say, there go my artist right there. What up, young cat?
What's up, man? What's up, Big Pimp?
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
So anyway, Quentin Tarantino think he can say the N-word, but I checked with all of and nobody knows where he got his pass from. I hope he didn't get it from Samuel L. Jackson and Jamie Foxx, because they not going to help you when I see you.
Ah, okay, all right.
I'm saying that's disrespectful. I don't call Spanish people because it's disrespectful. Who would do that? Let alone do it 186 times in a movie for profit. Like, for real? And put it out on Jesus' birthday? Really? You better unchain Django. I'm trying to figure out how you had a silent letter before could read.
Now.
Listen to what I just said. How could you have a silent letter before black people could read?
How could you have a silent letter before?
He says my name is Django. The J is silent.
The D is silent. Django, yeah.
You're not even supposed to be able to.
That's some profound stuff you're talking about right now. You're making me think, Cat Williams.
Sir. They can say I'm crazy all they want. My IQ is 163, and I get tested every 6 months.
Your IQ test?
I've been with Mensa since I was 10. I won the Optimist Club's National Oratory Award for Adults when I was 8 years old.
I gotta ask you, this is something that I just thought about right now.
Yeah.
Now, one of the problems that people are saying is that he made a movie about slavery, right? And a lot of people were upset about that. Now, Steven Spielberg made a movie about slavery with Amistad.
Quentin Tarantino is no Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg doesn't want to be black. Quentin Tarantino thinks he is.
Okay.
So when he meets a real, we'll see if he is or not.
So if you see him out at an event, what are you gonna
busting his ass?
Busting his
on
ass.
Site.
To be continued on the next Perfect Movie podcast.